everybody, and welcome to a video where I'm going to be looking at three lost railway locations on the edge of Nottingham. There's probably not enough in them to form individual videos by themselves, so I've combined them to make one video and we'll jump between the three of them. Right now I'm on the Great Central Railway. I'm just outside of Bulwell, a few miles out of Nottingham, and that is going to be the second subject matter of this video, because then I'm going to look at the Bennerley and Bulwell Railway and take a little look at a section which has been largely forgotten about. And you wouldn't believe it was a railway back in the day. First of all though, we're going to jump to a place called Mapperley. There used to be a brickworks, and the Great Northern Railway, the Nottingham suburban line, shot across from one side of the city outskirts towards the other side, and round about there was a brickworks, and there's a bridge on a road that has been largely forgotten about, and I'm going to take you there right now. I've got Arnold around about a mile to my left and Sherwood just over my shoulder. Got a Woodthorpe Park on the right that had the Great Northern's Nottingham suburban line going straight through it. Used to be the tunnel there, and also just up here there is the bridge with the little red steam engine poking out of one side. There it is, little coming into view. That's the former Nottingham suburban line. Sherwood station would have been about a quarter of a mile just over there, and Daybrook about half a mile that way. Can poke you down. There is the little red steam engine. Not come to see that today. So over there we used to have Mapperley Brickworks, and there was an inclined plane that came down and joined on at Sherwood station to the Nottingham suburban line. And if you want to make bricks, you're going to need clay. So there's a number of clay operations around the area, and they required little industrial lines connect up to each other, take you to the Mapperley Brickworks before joining onto the main line after production. And at the top of Woodthorpe Drive, I think there's a little reminder of that for us to see. Okay, to my left is Brett Hill Recreation Ground or Park, but look just a bit further up, there's evidence of a red brick wall. Over the years, brickmaking was a big part of Nottingham and Nottinghamshire, and one of the names that always sprung to mind was Mapperley Brickworks, operating from the 1850s right until closure in 1965, and it was the home of two Hoffman brick kilns, both circular with a chimney in the centre, one of which was in operation right until closure. And what I've come to look at in this explore is a railway bridge or a tramway bridge that was used as part of a clay pit that was next to the brickworks, and it was used to transport clay below the roads and past the houses. And the bridge that I've come to find today is part of the tramway. It was used to carry clay from a clay pit right the way over to Mapperley Brickwork. This map from the early 1900s, you've got Sherwood Station down here, you've got the Mapperley Brickworks just here, and the location of the clay pit is just here. Notice there's a tramway marked right in the centre of the map, and also the inclined plane that joined the brickworks to the railway down at Sherwood Station. But the tracks stop just shy of Mapperley Brickworks, as you can see from this zoomed in image of the same map. Where Brett Hill cottages are, that was roughly where the clay pits were, just above or behind those. But the tram tracks do stop. If we change over to this map from the 1950s though, the tram lines do carry on. It says clay pit just here, look, we've got the brickworks down here, and where I'm stood with the bridge that I've come to see is right here. So this was clearly an extension later on to serve a clay pit further away from the brickworks. Now, as I mentioned previously, there was the inclined plane right up to the brickworks. Look at those chimneys there, and that went down right down to Sherwood Station, and part of the way down there is still a relic of this tram line. Look at this is fantastic, isn't it? And this is situated below Sherwood Vale, and it's not far behind the two tower blocks that reside on the former Sherwood Station, of which you can see now, and the trucks on the right hand side are very much at the bottom of that incline. So Mapperley Brickworks was over there. You can just make out a red brick wall on the opposite side, but this side, look, down here there was a track bed coming out of there, and it's all going to be filled in, but there was a clay works just over there. And that was this huge expanse of land down there. You can see it's a playing field now, and we've got Killissick over there and Arnold over there, and a children's play park just here, which I'm gonna bypass around and try and get to the other side of that bridge and have a little look. But yeah, this would have been such an industrial landscape a few decades ago. Let's push on down here and have a little nosy. There it is, look, on the opposite side. Still got that red brick. It is completely filled in from what I can tell. Try and get a little bit higher. And on the opposite side, the fence, look. Yeah, so that has gone. But it would have come bursting out of here, and workings would have arrived at that clay works just there. And I have been able to find a couple of images. Look, this is externally looking in, probably round about where I'm stood right now, looking at that embankment showing the infill. It looks like it has been filled in on the other side. Can turn you around and we can look out. Look, we're stood underneath Woodthorpe Drive, looking out to where the clay pit probably still was at this point. Fantastic, the only shots I was able to find. So pavement to road level is just there. You see the brickwork comes down. It's a different kind of brick, isn't it? But that would have been filled in some time ago. I can just make out the topsoil, but it is higher than the brickwork. So no evidence whatsoever of any gaps going under the road. But you've got to imagine it is still hollow. And on the other side it is someone's garden, so we'll not be having a nosy at that. But I'll point you at the wall when I get back up to the top. Now, it did pass under Woodthorpe Gardens, which is a couple of roads across. It actually split into two. I'm going to walk up there, see if there's any evidence similar to this, but I'm not really expecting much. Another idea of where it came out just there, look, all been infilled. But that's the track bed level is around about here. Then I imagine this has been landscaped since and lowered down to where the clay works was. Breck Hill is just the other side of this field, if you know where you are. Right, this is Woodthorpe Gardens, and the line was pretty much where that line of trees are going through there, the other side of that Range Rover. So nothing to see there whatsoever. On the other side, looks like it's all been landscaped and gone as well. But down there is a garden some way down. But whether there is any evidence down there, we're never going to know. The only indication being a line of trees proceeding back to where we began. You can just see that line of trees going through. Mapperley Brickworks would have been on the opposite side, and this hump in the road, the brow, well, that is where the track would have gone below. So that was a nice little find, a nice little reminder of what this area was like and how the track beds fell into the landscape for the industrial purposes. I'm now going to jump to the next location in Bulwell. I'll show you on maps where we are, and I'll talk to you about what we're looking for. So that bridge at Mapperley Brickworks, that was fantastic. It's just one little lost nugget of our railway history. But now I'm back on the Great Central Line. Very, very interesting and very much forgotten. A lot of people today wouldn't know that that is what it was. A main line with lots of lines either side of it. A connection towards another railway. Want to know where I'm going to begin? I'm going to take you to the start point of this particular section now. It's time to look at Lost Railway number 2. So I'm beginning here on Ranny Drive, and on the right hand side I've got Ranny Business Park, and maybe little do they realise with these units on the right hand side that it was once a very busy railway location, the Great Northern Railway either side of the Great Central Railway, right in the centre. So let me tell you where we are. So the blue line, that is the Great Central Railway going towards Annesley up here and back to Nottingham down here. The Great Northern Line, that is the red one going from left to right and also up towards Bestwood Colliery up here.
Daybrook Station is just over here, and the Nottingham Suburban line just poking out on the bottom right. We've just been there today, haven't we? And that down there is where Sherwood Station is, and off to the left, off towards Bennerley Viaduct and on towards Derby. And the yellow line, of course, is the Midland Railway. Now, Bagthorpe Junction, that is just here. Bagthorpe Tunnel, or the Rat Hole, is just here, and Bulwell Common Station is here. We'll be following the route off towards Bulwell Common Station before finishing off on this section at Hucknall Road after it's gone past the Bulwell Golf Course and also the former site of Bulwell Viaduct, finding many former features of this line along the way. I can zoom in, and right here is where Ranny Business Park is. We've got Arnold Lane just down here, Bagthorpe Junction right here, and the tunnel, the Rat Hole further up. You'll notice there's another line just here, and that was the Great Northern and Great Central Joint Railway. That was a spur of track around about a mile in length, which went off towards Bestwood Colliery.
I'm going to momentarily pop down to Arnold Road just here, because we've got a little bit of track bed there that I'm going to show you of one of the crossings of these three lines. At the very bottom of Ranny Drive, we'd have had the tunnel behind the BT buildings, look, and the crossing was right here. And we've actually got part of that former Great Northern Railway embankment left, look, right here. Making its way over there, look. And the track bed would have shot across over Arnold Lane just there, and the Rat Hole tunnel would have been just behind those buildings just there, and this particular line curved around and joined on to the Lean Valley line, which would then later head on towards places such as Kimberley, over to Bennerley Viaduct and then to Derby Friargate. Away from that Great Northern line, the Great Central Cross a little way just up there, right where that red car is now.
So to put it all into perspective, the route up to Arnold Lane or Bagthorpe Tunnel, it came across Vale Road, and after that you'd have hit Bagthorpe Junction. That is just up there on that huge embankment, and you can see it again. That's a working travelling south towards Nottingham on the Great Central, and you can see point work taking the track to the left and to the right. Where the track veers off to the left, that's where Ranny Business Park is, just the other side. Another view by Michael Castledine again shows the branches going off to the left and going off to the right, the business park just to the left. And you can see those lines again, the red lines, the left and the right, with the Great Central in the middle, those red lines being the one that we've just looked at Bagthorpe Junction. And where the Great Central and the Great Northern crossed Arnold Lane down here at the bottom of Ranny Drive, there's this fantastic shot. So where you can see the car in the shot in the centre, Ranny Drive to the business park is immediately opposite that on the right hand side, and the embankment that I've just been stood on is pretty much where the back end of that locomotive is, and you've got the Great Central Railway in the background as the second bridge. And this is Bagthorpe Tunnel, that is looking back towards Nottingham, and we've got the Lean Valley Great Northern Line right above us, and we've got another shot from a different angle. Look, you've got the Great Northern Spurn from the Great Central on the right hand side where those carriages are, the Great Northern's Lean Valley line going across with those wagons on it, then the Great Central would be up the embankment on the top left hand side.
And just behind the units, the Great Central line would have crossed around about here. About a quarter of a mile further north, it's got a bit windier, but we're also greeted with Kersall Road, and it's got some nice reminders of what was once here, where the Great Central line shot across and below the road, and also the spur of the Great Central and Great Northern Joint Line, which joined both the Great Northern and the Great Central line together. And you can see we've got these bridge abutments remaining, look, from where the Great Central came under, and also the spur of the Great Northern and Great Central Joint. So back towards Bagthorpe Tunnel, Bagthorpe Junction, Ranny Business Park where it began over there, but you see these bungalows built upon it. So the joint line was there, the Great Central line afterwards. And you've still got that lovely brick wall with the line heading off towards Moor Bridge, on towards Bestwood, and further on towards Hucknall and Annesley.
And this fine image just shows you the expanse of track work looking down towards Bulwell Common Station. This is taken from the bridge that we've just been looking at, now plastered with houses and bungalows. I do find interesting that centre archway. I don't really think I've ever seen that before. That's if anyone knows what that was for, I'd be curious to find out. But one of those bridges would have took the Great Central line, and the other one would have taken the Great Central and Great Northern Joint line.
So we lose the track beds again, but we do get to pick up the track bed of the joint line, the Great Northern and Great Central joint, that little spur which ran alongside the Great Central line for around about a mile or so. Bulwell Common Station was also down here. And that was just up here, up Swale Close. I think we've got remains of the railway bridge. But this station did have two platforms. It opened in March 1899 and lasted to the same month, but of 1963 on the 4th of March. So if I turn you around, we have this, look, some more retaining walls for a bridge, but there are sadly gardens on the other side. Again, on the opposite side, look, we've got more of that lovely blue brick, giving us a reminder that was Bulwell Common Junction just down there, where the Great Central and the Great Central and Great Northern spur came around and joined on. They ran alongside each other for some distance down there, and I'm going to pick up part of that route just down here.
Bulwell Common Station was on the Great Central Railway main line, and the station opened with the line on the 15th of March 1899. It consisted of two platforms and it lasted until the 4th of March 1963, so a relatively short lifespan, and the station was the fourth to serve the northern Nottingham suburb of Bulwell. The station was one of the standard island platforms designed typical of the London extension. After the station closed in 1963, passenger service continued to use the line as a through route until September 1966, with the route closing to freight on the 25th of March 1968.
And that bridge was just around there, and I've come along this footpath, the track beds, roughly where those buildings are. Once we get down here, we do actually get to follow the course of the track bed towards Moor Bridge and where the large and once beautiful Bulwell Viaduct once was. We are gradually descending. The course of the track bed is right where those houses are. I think we're going to go past them and dip left and actually walk along the track bed. So we're now actually on the embankment of the track bed. This is fantastic. We've come from down there, Swale Drive, where the last bridges that we saw. About a 5 minutes walk up there, Great Central Main Line shooting down that right hand side with the joint line running alongside it for a little while. And the reason that continues going is because it's going to join onto the Great Northern Line again further down here. So the Great Central Line in a little while will break away and it will cross over where there is now a retail park. A giant Morrison's superstore is just there. But 25 years ago, this viaduct was still there, crossing exactly where the Morrison's store car park is today. But for now, we get to continue following the track bed, and that embankment, since I started talking, these last few clips, has now turned into a cutting. I can turn you around and we'll look over here. Look at that. So we've got into a cutting. Just beyond those trees, it was an embankment, and it's just come up like that. And that's about the depth of a double-decker bus now, and it's creeping up the same on the right-hand side too. And it was this point that the Great Central broke away from the Great Central and Great Northern joint, and it continued to shoot across in that direction. There was the great big viaduct that I mentioned earlier, and then it would have passed places such as Bulwell Hall Station on towards Limby and then Annesley. But for now, we've got a little bit more to look at just here before the joint line of the Great Central and Great Northern joined onto the Great Northern's Lean Valley Extension line by Bestwood. And just here, look, you can actually see the embankment. I can zoom you in a little bit. Right there, look. And then right where that building is, it stops. And that's where the viaduct would have crossed over, where the River Lean is, and Morrison's just over there.
This beautiful time capsule of a photograph puts into perspective of what we've just been looking at. Just look at that viaduct. It was huge, wasn't it? Bulwell Viaduct adorning the skyline over the valley just there, and the Great Northern and Great Central joint line running alongside, which we're about to follow very, very shortly. Another shot, look a little bit closer, of working coming across the viaduct in the direction of Nottingham. This is a photograph below the viaduct of the currently operational Midland Railway, the one between Nottingham and Worksop. I believe this was taken in the 1980s. Look at this fantastic aerial shot that's showing the viaduct and Hucknall Lane in the top of the photograph. Morrison's would be just the other side and where McDonald's is now. But look, we've got the former Lido, which is now the Ken Martin's swimming baths and gym. That is just so different to what it is today. I've got very faint memories of that outdoor pool and also faint memories of the abandoned viaduct.
And that's remains of the old viaduct. Look at that. I've got a photo I can show you of this, but you've got to imagine it going straight over in that trajectory. See the white van and where the sun is situated.
So to still have this one final piece of the viaduct still here is quite remarkable, but it is still around. It's just here on Hucknall Lane, right where I'm pointing now, and you've got Morrison's Superstore just here if you want to come and find this piece of wall. This is a beautiful photo, 1950s. It's still got the overhead cables up for all of the trolley buses. We can jump forward to the late 1970s. That billboard is still on the right hand side, although it looks a little bit higher, doesn't it? But again, you would not know it was the same location as it is today. And this is what it is from the other side. Look, the viaduct still standing. And even notice the Nottingham City Transport Leyland Atlantean bus that would have been providing its usual roar of engine coming underneath that bridge. This one taken further up with the site of the Ken Martin swimming pool on the left hand side, but it'd still be the outdoor pools and Lido. This one taken at ground level. Absolutely amazing, isn't it? What a structure this was, and sadly how it ended up. Demolition in full swing.
And coming around that path a little bit more, look, we've got this embankment just here. And what this is going to be is our Great Northern and Great Central joint line. We can get up there, look, right onto the embankment. I'm assuming that's actually been cut away. I don't think it looks like there was a bridge there. It's just been cut through to make a path. But we could get ourselves up to the top, look. And for one last time along this route, we can follow the track bed again. Down there, that is the line off towards Mansfield and Worksop. It's come from Nottingham, so it puts into perspective again how close a lot of these lines were running side by side, just like at the beginning at Ranny Business Park, where Bagthorpe Junction was. Now then, does it look like we're going to lose the... No, it doesn't. It's just a couple of benches. There, another train going past. Embankment's quite high up at the moment, look. We've got Bestwood Drive, I think it is down there with the railway, and the Nottingham Express Transit tram is down there too. This is going to come to Hucknall Road in a moment. Bit of an abrupt end, but once over Hucknall Road, that would be the junction of the Great Northern's main line, that Lean Valley extension, which would take it off towards places such There's Hucknall, Limbey and Annesley too. The embankment is extraordinarily high right now, look. That is some drop down there. You just seen the cyclists go past. That's very, very high. The railway line, you can see that just there, look, through the tree branches. Let's bring you back this way and back on the embankment. It's not so high on this side, look, probably about half. Golf course still over there. I don't think we've got much more to do along here. There we go, look, end of the line. Hucknall Road is down there. The Great Northern Line that came across around there on the opposite side and curved up there and continued on towards Bestwood, where this line crossed over and joined onto it.
So in this shot from Britain from above, the layout of the roads are completely different. There is no more bridge there. Hucknall Road is coming down from the right hand side and it's going to pass under our railway line that we've just been walking, the Great Central and Great Northern joint, and you can see where it's going to join on to the other Great Northern line, curving around from here. But as traffic used to pass under the line, it used to be a right turn and then a left, and it would then cross over what is today the tram line and also the line to Worksop. From this angle in the opposite direction, we've got the Midland Railway just off centre to the left and our joint line about to cross Hucknall Road on the left, and you've got Bulwell Viaduct in the background on the top right hand side, and another angle looking at the viaduct on the left and the Great Central line shooting across from left to right. This one has been taken a little bit later. Look, you can see that Moor Bridge has now been built. The road from Hucknall Road comes under the railway and goes straight over the bridge as it does today.
And here we are at the other end, where the Great Northern's Lee Valley line curved around and joined onto our Great Central and Great Northern's joint line. That mile or so spur, which came all the way from where we began, back at Bagthorpe Junction. Quite a way, isn't it? That's where we've just been walking down there. On the other side of that is Hucknall Road, about 50 metres or so. And we've just come along that embankment, dipped down where Hucknall Road was, and I've come back up here, and the line does carry on this way. And I did the Lee Valley extension probably about 3 years ago, might be 4 years ago, might have been summer of 2020. I'll put a link to that at the coming up next bit at the end of this video, but for now we're going to jump to location number 3, still local, mile or so up that way, the Bennerley Bulwell Railway, a short bit of an embankment and a remains of a bridge just by a little place called Snape Wood. The former Bennerley and Bulwell Railway. Oh, that has been gone for a very long time. About 4 or 5 months ago, I followed a section of that line up to that bridge in the middle of the fields right by the M1. You might remember it. Well, today I'm picking up the line from the opposite direction. You can see I'm on a track bed, which I didn't think existed. I really didn't. So I'm going to jump back to the beginning, just down there, Snape Wood, show you where I got onto the track bed so you can come and see it for yourself, and we'll also jump to rail maps so you can see a bit of the area, what I'm on about.
So upon leaving the Midland Railway, the Bennerley and Bulwell line left Bulwell town centre and it went on up towards what is Snape Wood today. Huge change with housing estates all over the place. The railway line passed the major factory of Sankey's. I believe this burnt down in the 1980s, around about 1980 I believe, before closing in the early 2000s, and that is where we are up today. We've got Snape Wood just here, the Sankey factory just there, and the Bennerley and Bulwell line came away from Bulwell town centre just here, and the part of line I want to follow today is from here to just shy of the M1 over here. Below the red line is the Great Northern line, which has come from where we were at Bagthorpe Tunnel, heading off over towards Bennerley Viaduct. I can zoom you in much closer. So we've got Snape Wood just here, we've got the M1 over here, and I'm picking up the track bed right here. There's a big DPD centre, a warehouse just there now today, and that is where I'm going to pick up the route and and follow it off to look for this bridge.
So our Bennerley and Bulwell line came up from Bulwell, currently about a mile and a half down there, and comes up Sellers Wood Road West. See the curve in the road? Well, the line of trees is our track bed. Somehow I'm hoping that we can get up there. And on this very bend, we can see the track bed going away from the curve of the road. Look, just through there, there's a pathway to get back up there. Plans were submitted for this line back in 1872, but it took until December 1875 for mineral traffic to be running between Bestwood and Watnall. The rest of the line, that followed later, but it didn't last for very long. Old random post, no idea. There's another one just there, look, see it through there. Not sure they are railway related, but they are indeed a very old kind of reinforced concrete, aren't they? So track laying, that recommenced towards Bennerley, where the other end of the line was, in November 1878. It was opened by August 1879. This is looking a bit sketchy going forward now. I've lost the decent footpath I was on because it disappears down into Sellers Wood. But I think with a bit of thinking, I can get around here. Let's try. And I'm back on, look. So around the tree that's fallen for a long time, and we've got a bit of a squirrely, narrow footpath to follow on our track bed. Nothing to see at all along here. There's plenty of cobwebs hitting my face. Compare you over here and you can see that we are on quite an embankment looking down, probably about the height of a double-decker bus. Same on the other side where the units are through there. Occasionally it feels like there's a sleeper indentation below me, but there's that much growth around that I can't tell. On maps there is a bridge marked on it at some point before we get to the M1, but that's a very old map, so whether it's still there I don't know. Seems to be on a bit of an incline at the moment. The embankment's even higher up. The M1, I can hear it over there, probably about a quarter of a mile or so away. Let's keep pushing on. This bit's a bit tricky. I'm gonna try and crawl through. Well, squat. So I think if I'm really careful, I should be able to attempt to get down here. Oh, it is a bit windy today. Look at that nice bit of stone wall just there, and the coping stones coming down the side. Carefully does it, and I'm down. There we go, look, I'm at the bottom. I jumped down. That's nice, isn't it? And we can follow it around. All I'm going to do is stand here at the bottom because it is farmland on both sides, and it's not something I want to encourage just wandering off. That's beautiful, isn't it? How about that? So I was just stood up there. It looks higher stood up there looking down than it does from actually standing down here. The wall on the opposite side has completely gone, look, but you can see up there where the track bed is. That is absolutely smashing. Come around this side a little bit. How about that? Beautiful. And what happens beyond is it follows the embankment down, and I can quickly show you around about 300 or 400 meters up there it crosses the motorway, and that then picks up where I left off on a previous video which I did about 3 months ago on the other side of the M1. random brick missing out of there, look. Probably just basic erosion. It's quite peculiar though, it's right smack bang in the middle though. So was there something there at one time? Maybe something to do with a gate. Maybe that was attached to get across. It's all the individual lines at the stone, pick marks. That's great. I love the fact that one side has been left up, but they've... Nah, let's get rid of the other side. I wonder if that side did collapse at one point and they just had to tidy it up and get rid.
So upon leaving the remains of our bridge, the Bennerley Bulwell line headed west, but its next obstacle would be the M1. The M1 completely obliterating the track bed and prohibiting any chance of the line reopening today. Now on the other side of the line there is the remains of a bridge. I did a video on this around about 6 months ago coming away from Kimberley, and you may have noticed this bridge a few times as you travel north on the M1, so I'll put a link to the video for this bridge. It's worth a visit if you're in the area to go for a walk as well. But for now, I hope you've enjoyed this video looking at 3 small nuggets of our lost railway history and heritage. If you can think of any more similar locations that probably aren't enough for a full video on their own, but I could make up another one like this, please drop it in the comments below, or you can get me on Facebook on the Trekking Exploration Facebook page. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the very next one.